Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more current transfer rumours and gossip. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So I do believe the vast majority of Manchester United fans, including me, are becoming now infuriated with this transfer window. Quite clearly, we haven't done enough business up until this point. Obviously we do know further investment is needed in the squad. We do know so far this summer, we have spent what, £68 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, and we have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far, because both players have done really well in pre-season, and I do believe both players have had a fantastic start to their careers at Manchester United, and I do believe they will exceed at Manchester United, they will exceed expectation levels, but we need more than Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka. We need an experienced centre-half, someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof in our back line. We do need a couple of new additions in that midfield, regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, and also we're in search for a right winner. But I'm very sceptical about Manchester United bringing a right winner in. But yeah, I am very infuriated now in this current transfer market, because obviously analysing the last couple of windows wasn't competitive enough. We didn't get anybody in January. We didn't get as number one targets there last summer, because reflecting back last summer, the board weren't backing the signs there that Jose Mourinho wanted to recommend to the football club. I mean, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer initially has been given a substantial amount to spend, but obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has actually not become infuriated with this window. He says Manchester United are still working on more signings. He wants to bring another one or two more players in before this window does currently shut. But we've got to hurry up about the business, because there's only 6 days remaining now in this current transfer window. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's actual preference was at the end of March was to get our transfer business completed by the time we initially went on pre-season. But obviously that didn't currently materialise. And obviously initially the board did say that the board assured that there was going to be backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this summer. But if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't get all the players that he does want, you can basically say that the board have let him down. And obviously we'll criticise the board. We'll also criticise Ed Woodward. But I do believe Ed Woodward is working on getting deals over the line. He's obviously working on the Harry Maguire deal. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's held talks with Ed Woodward. Due to our lack of business in this current transfer market. But if we want to be up there competing, and we want to be up there, winning a Super, we've got to get the right players to Manchester United. I do believe we'll have a better season this season. I think we will, than last season, because last season was a huge disappointment. We finished 6th. Obviously, we didn't win many Super, and obviously, we failed to qualify for the Champions League. And obviously, Champions League, football is always very essential. When you do want to attract the players to the highest level, because certain players at a calibre and level, do want to be in Champions League football. So certain players, may have reservations about coming to Manchester United. But yeah, Solskjaer, the other week, was talking about our ambitions for this season, and believes, we'll be aiming for further up than 4th this season. I think this season we may finish in the top 4, maybe in the top 3, but I do believe, we'll have a better season this season in my current opinion. But we've actually failed to qualify for the Champions League 3 times out of the past 6 seasons, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. Solskjaer said, we've got to be patient in this window, because he does say, we've got, 2 good players on the board, but further investment is definitely needed into the squad, and definitely further investment is needed into the squad, because obviously you've got Arsenal, they've invested well this summer, they're doing good business, they've just got Nicolas Pepe for £72 million, they've got William Saliba from St Etienne, they've got Daniel Ceballos on loan from Real Madrid, they're also working on getting the deal over the line for Kieran Tierney, so, they're doing good business this summer. You've got Tottenham, they're looking to do further more investment. I know they've signed 2 players so far this summer, they've signed Tanguy Ndombele for £65 million, obviously they smashed their transfer record to get him. They've got Jack Clarke from Leeds, he's been loaned back to Leeds for this season, and obviously, looking at Juventus in Italy, they've done good investment this summer. They spent an extortionate amount on Matthias Delaney. They also got Adrian Rabiot. They got Aaron Ramsey. They got Ronaldo last summer. Going into Spain, you've got Real Madrid. They're doing good investment this summer. They've spent 300 or just over £300 million on 5 players. You've got Atletico Madrid. They're doing a really good business. So Manchester United, we have got to get our priority targets to the football club. But now I am really becoming infuriated in this current transfer market. So there has been a lot of speculation throughout the course of the summer of, players coming in, and of course players leaving the football club. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did initially say, we're not intending on overspending on our current transfer tags. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, was recently, talking about our recruitment policy, and I do believe our recruitment policy is very, very poor, especially in the last couple of windows. But quite a few people said, look, we should be sensible of our recruitment this summer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes he's following a policy, that proved successful under Alex Ferguson. And don't get me wrong, I can see the vast improvements in the squad now because, I've been analysing the games in pre-season. We do look a better team. We have got a pretty decent team, but we just further more investment, needs to be put into that squad. But yeah, we've done really, really well in pre-season. We've won 5 games out of 5, won 5 out of 5, 10 goals scored, only 1 goal conceded. And obviously, we play AC Milan tomorrow at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. That's our last game of pre-season. So obviously, after that game, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to get more of an indication of what squad, to play against Chelsea on the opening day of the season. So yeah, we have done really, really well in that in pre-season. But I think, I think we'll look better in the attacking third of the pitch, if I'm going to be fair, because we've got that pace now up front, and that's something we lacked last season, that pace. This is where I wasn't scoring enough goals, this is where I wasn't ruthless enough in front of a goal. We might have been creating chances, but we wasn't scoring enough goals. So you've got Daniel James, he's got a fantastic electrifying pace. You've got Martial, he's got good pace. You've got Rashford, he's got good pace. I think the club may orchestrate on playing Martial in more, more centrally this season. We may play Martial more centrally because he seems to be more, he looks more effective in that position, as we have seen throughout pre-season. But actually, Martial and Rashford, they can both play out wide, they can both play centrally. And obviously, we've got likes of Mason Greenwood, he's upcoming. Obviously, he's going to be given more chances this season. He's getting promoted into the first team as Solskjaer's confirmed. You've got Chon as well. He's the upcoming future. So we have got we are looking now better in that attack of third of the pitch. But there's still certain areas in the squad, that do need to be addressed. We definitely need a couple of new additions in that midfield. The initial plan is to actually keep Paul Pogba and bring 2 new midfielders in that can actually replace Ander Herrera and Mario Fellaini, because obviously them 2 have currently left the football club. And we definitely need to address that midfield because you've got the likes of Fred. Fred never really got the opportunity under Jose Mourinho. We paid just under £50 million for him last summer. I do believe the club overpaid for him. He hasn't got a fantastic pedigree. He was I think he was exceptional at Shakhtar Donetsk, if I'm going to be quite honest. Hasn't really replicated this form at Manchester United. He's done well in pre-season. His last 3 games he's come on. He did well towards the back end of last season. To be fair to Fred, I'll give him the credit. I think he's more mobile and I think he's better on the ball than Matic. But I'm still very sceptical about Fred if he's got all the attributes to succeed at Manchester United. And I've got the same thoughts about McTominay. McTominay, he's gaining more experience in these. He's gaining more experience under his belt in these. He's been gaining more experience under his belt in these games in pre-season. And I do believe he will get his chances this season, McTominay. But again, I'm still very, very sceptical about him. We've got Nemanja Matic. He isn't good enough. He's too slow, and that midfield looks totally imbalanced. When he's playing, and he's not getting any younger. He's getting older now. He's Nemanja Matic. I know he's highly experienced in the Premier League and is Premier League proven, but he's too inconsistent. He's Nemanja Matic. So we've definitely got to address that midfield, and I think we need to bring in probably 2 new midfielders in, if I'm going to be quite honest here. But regardless of what happens with Paul Pogba, we're still looking, to bring a couple of new additions in that midfield. I believe we need to sell players because these, problematic players at Manchester United. I think we need to get rid of Matteo Darmian. That's one player we need to get rid of because, he served his 2 requirements at the football club. Obviously hasn't played in pre-season. He hasn't even really been given a chance at Manchester United. So he's being basically, based on his limited appearances, I think he basically needs to leave the football club. I think with Rojo, he's been given his chances fair enough in pre-season, but I think his Manchester United career has been mainly affected with the amount of injuries he's sustained. So yeah, players need to leave the football club. With Lukaku, he's obviously not got to leave the football club. Some people may say we need to sell players anywhere to help us generate funds and rebuild the squad even more, but maybe not because I think Solskjaer has been given a substantial amount to spend. So that would be bad business for Manchester United. Say we sold Paul Pogba for around £150 million, because if we did sell Paul Pogba, we would definitely generate over £100 million for his departure. But if we sold Paul Pogba, we say we got £150 million, we received £150 million, then we went and bought 2 or 3 players for the £150 million. we'd basically be just spending, what we, what we generated from Paul Pogba's departure, and that'd be bad business for Manchester United, because we're not that sort of football club. We're not Stoke City. We're a big, massive club, with massive revenues and all that. So yeah, but we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world. With the most successful team in England historically and all that. And certain players still may want to come to Manchester United. Example, Harry Maguire wants to come to Manchester United, but with Leicester City's valuation is for the large portion of the summer. Leicester's valuation, of course, is seen to be the stumbling block and all that. I do believe that Bruno Fernandes' actual preference is to come to Manchester United. So it just still gives you an indication that certain players do want to come to Manchester United and all that. But we have been playing catch up for the last 5 or 6 years. Because we've been a toxic club for the last 5 or 6 years. Since Alex Ferguson's retirement, we've been very inconsistent. We've had different managers with different philosophies. Obviously, a hell of a lot of money has been invested into the football club. Players have come in, and of course players have gone out. But I'm still backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I do believe he can get Manchester United back, to being a competitive elite level football club. But further investment is definitely needed. But I still believe we'll have a better season this season and all that. But like I said, there's quite a few players, that haven't played on pre-season. There's quite a few. You got Lukaku, he hasn't played on pre-season because allegedly Solskjaer said he was injured. He's had an ankle problem, and obviously that's fueled small speculation in regards to Lukaku's future. To his long-term future. Obviously, you got Sanchez. I think Sanchez reportedly sustained an injury whilst on a Copa America duty with Chile. Sustained an injury. So he obviously hasn't played on pre-season. Obviously, you've got Darmian. He hasn't played. I don't think Lee Grant's played. Lee Grant's travelled, but obviously, he's been injured, so he hasn't currently participated. I think the likes of Fosu-Mensah's been injured. I think Fosu-Mensah's been injured, Dimitri Mitchell, and that's been injured. So there's quite a few players that haven't played on pre-season tour. But I've been impressed with the young players throughout pre-season. We have got quite a few upcoming players in our squad. You got the likes of Alex Tuanzebe. Some people have still orchestrated out saying that maybe we should loan Alex Tuanzebe out for another season because maybe it would be beneficial for his future. Maybe it will gain him a bit more experience. But to be fair to Alex Tuanzebe, I think he's done well in pre-season with Manchester United. But he did well on his loan spell, with Aston Villa last season. But I've been impressed with him. I've been impressed with Angel Gomez. Some people said maybe we should loan him out. I've been really impressed with McTominay. I've been impressed with Chon. I've been impressed with Mason Greenwood. So I've been impressed with the young players. And these, like I said, there's quite a few upcoming players. There's still a lot of experienced players in the squad. There's fringe players in the squad. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer more or less has given everybody the chance in pre-season. He probably will give everybody the chance in the Premier League this season. To get a chance. He'll give them chances without a shadow of a doubt. But like I said, guys, still lots needs to be addressed in the squad. But we do know the players that Manchester United are in for. So we're in for Harry Maguire. We've been relentlessly linked with him all summer. We're in for Bruno Fernandes. We've been in for him all summer. With the Dybala news, obviously with Paul Dybala, we've been tentatively linked with Paul Dybala, so no real links have emerged until like the last 4 or 5 days basically. So Dybala for the majority of the summer, hasn't been one of our priority targets, but it's been coming out in the last 4 or 5 days now that more links have emerged about it, and there's obviously talks about Dybala and Romelu Lukaku as a potential swap deal. But now we will start with Harry Maguire. So basically, as I do know, there's a lot of stories, there's a lot of development around the situation with Harry Maguire. Now potentially, I do believe Harry Maguire is infuriated with Leicester, with his future still remaining uncertain. Obviously, we do know Brendan Rodgers has had his overarching view on the speculation about Harry Maguire, and he actually insisted early on this week that this week that Man United are not close to signing Harry Maguire, and he's basically dismissed the speculation. He basically said that Harry Maguire is no closer to leaving Leicester for Manchester United. Obviously, we've already had 2 bids turned down for Harry Maguire, but we initially been given a boost in our pursuit of Harry Maguire. Was it early on this week or the other week? Because Brendan Rodgers insists that there is no closing date in which Leicester would no longer consider selling him. So obviously this has fueled a lot more speculation now. Harry Maguire has been left out of Leicester's left out of Leicester's squad, you know, for their final pre-season game against Atlanta. I do believe it's this evening, so obviously, you know, that's fueled more speculation. Obviously, I do believe Harry Maguire spoken with Brendan Rodgers yesterday morning, and obviously it got agreed, you know, that Harry Maguire, you know, will not be participating in their final pre-season game. Obviously, Harry Maguire does want to leave Leicester because obviously he wants to rejuvenate his career and take his footballing career to the next level. Does Harry Maguire, and obviously he wants to come to Manchester United because obviously, you know, he wants to relish that opportunity. Obviously, it fueled more speculation early on this week. I think it was on Monday. Obviously, Harry Maguire, you know, was absent from training. Allegedly, from Leicester's perspective, they said, you know, because he had some kind of sickness bug, so he was ill. This is why reportedly he had currently skipped training, but he is definitely not becoming infuriated with Leicester. I did initially say it's looking very imminent. He is going to be our third signing this summer. But Di Marzio, you know, who's a very reliable Italian journalist, well, the majority of the time is reliable. Is Di Marzio, you know. He has got things wrong in the past, but he said early on this week that Man United's deal for Harry Maguire is in the final stages of coming to an agreement. This is what, you know, basically Di Marzio said. So basically, Brendan Rodgers reacted to what Di Marzio said, and he's basically, you know, dismissed the speculation. But recent reports said now, you know, we're willing to pay, you know, £80 million for Harry Maguire, and that's initially, you know, Leicester City's valuation. But actually, you know, Leicester are playing hardball because now recent reports have indicated out saying that we're still short of their valuation because it's saying now Leicester want from between 85 or 90 million pounds, so we're still around what, 5 or 10 million pounds short of their current valuation. Initially, you know, we've been reluctant, you know, to pay more than 70 or 75 million pounds for his services. Don't forget, you know, we've already had a 70 million pound bid turned down for Harry Maguire, but we do know Ed Woodward is looking to get this deal over the line. I do believe he still remains in negotiations with Leicester. I do believe also Manchester United have been in negotiations with Harry Maguire's agent. But yeah, Sky Sports reported out, was it yesterday, you know, that we're willing to pay £80 million now for Harry Maguire. Initially, recent reports said the other week that Leicester do want a higher transfer fee up front because they're sceptical that Manchester United, you know, will qualify for the Champions League this season. So he did initially say, you know, that they want a higher transfer fee up front. But like I said, you know, I want Harry Maguire to come to Manchester United because I do believe he'll address our defensive deficiencies, you know, really, really well. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, wants to partner him up with alongside Lindelof in our backline because I do believe, you know, they'll complement each other really, really well. And I do believe, you know, Lindelof is excited about the prospects of Harry Maguire, you know, linking up with him in our, you know, current backline and all that. But Solskjaer's identified him as his #1 defensive target. He's obviously instructed Ed Woodward to get the transfer completed for him. And obviously, I think this is following the serious knee injury that Eric Bailly sustained. He sustained a serious knee injury. You know, don't forget that Eric Bailly, he came off in the Tottenham game, and obviously I think he's obviously a doubt for this season. I think he's out for 5 months, according to recent reports. But like I said, I think Eric Bailly's career has been mainly affected, you know, the amount of injuries sustained, obviously, you know, his fallout on the managers. But we still know that Eric Bailly, of course, has got a great potential, and but yeah, you know, Harry Maguire has told Brendan Rodgers, he's also informed his Leicester teammates that he does want to leave Leicester. So reportedly £80 million, all obviously, you know, making the most expensive defender in the world. Also, the fee, you know, will exceed the fee of what Liverpool paid for Virgil van Dijk back in January 2018, because Liverpool did pay £75 million for Virgil van Dijk. And like I said, Harry Maguire is not worth £90 million. So Man United, I'm very sceptical that Manchester United, you know, will pay £90 million for his services. So we won't pay £90 million for him. But looking at ultimately, you know, Leicester don't want to sell Harry Maguire. They're under no financial pressure to sell him. And because, you know, Leicester have priced him out of the transfer market, basically. And they demand an extortionate amount because, obviously, like I've just said, you know, they don't want to sell Harry Maguire. But we do know he has been relentlessly, you know, linked to move to Manchester United. Obviously, you know, we've been relentlessly, you know, linked to him, but for me, I think he'll address our defensive deficiencies fantastically well, because, you know, looking at, you know, we haven't had a world-class central defending, you know, since whether it's Vidic and Ferdinand. Obviously, reflecting back 3 weeks ago, it was looking likely, you know, Harry Maguire was going to be going to Manchester City, because actually, you know, at one point, you know, City was his first choice preference over Manchester United. Obviously, you know, City were seeing him as a replacement for Vincent Kompany. You know, City were orchestrating on paying him around 280 grand a week. Obviously, you know, City have held several talks talks with Leicester. But we've been in pole position to currently sign him. But I think we are struggling to come to an agreement with Leicester over what they're demanding, because I did say for large portions of the summer anyway that Leicester City's valuation has been the stumbling block of Harry Maguire supposedly leaving Leicester. But I think he'll be fantastic for Manchester United. He'll address our defensive deficiencies. He's well Premier League proven as well, which is very, very beneficial. He's been at Leicester 2 seasons. He's made 76 appearances for them in all competitions. 69 of those appearances have come in the Premier League. And he only signed a new long-term contract last September, so he's still got 4 years remaining there in his contract with Leicester. And Leicester paid around £17 million for his services from Hull City. He actually played under Mike Phelan's guidance when he was at Hull City, so I think Mike Phelan's keen on reuniting with him. Mike Phelan only had a short tenure with Hull, but was also tracking Harry Maguire, when he was a youngster at Sheffield United, who was also tracking him then. But I am becoming infuriated now about the Harry Maguire transfer side. Also Harry Maguire himself is becoming infuriated, with Leicester's reluctance, of course, to sell him to Manchester United, because of Harry Maguire. He's not going to intend on spending the rest of his career with Leicester. He's not going to intend on spending several years with Leicester, because obviously he's going to want to move on. He's going to want to take his footballing career to the next level, and he believes now, Harry Maguire, that he's good enough, to do that. And I think he is a really good central defender. I don't think he's nowhere near as good as Virgil van Dijk, because Virgil van Dijk is regarded as the best central defender in the world. But I still think he's good enough for Manchester United. Is Harry Maguire. He's still good enough for Manchester United, is Harry Maguire. But now recent reports have said, Leicester, want around £90 million for him. So him and Victor Lindelof in our backline, would be absolutely fantastic. Because I've got my own overarching view on Victor Lindelof. I think he's really, really good. Harry Maguire's a better option than him. Don't get me wrong. Well, Harry Maguire's a better option than any of our central defenders at the moment, and I think also Harry Maguire will be a good upgrade to the likes of Smalling and Jones. But like I said, with Lindelof, he's improving. He was inconsistent in his first season, didn't really settle in. But I do believe in his second season with Manchester United, there was vast improvements in his game, and I do believe he's done well in pre-season so far. And I think he's going to be even better this season than he was last season. But he was actually good last season. There was Victor Lindelof. So there's been a lot of central defenders on our agenda, as you all know. But the number one target is Harry Maguire. And obviously now Leicester, looking at a few players, that could replace him if he does go. Obviously one of the players they've identified as a replacement is obviously Lewis Dunk and that from Brighton. But hopefully Manchester United can still get this deal over the line. If we get him for £80 million, it's going to take our spending up to around £148 million this summer, because obviously we've already spent £68 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka. Bruno Fernandes. Now there's huge developments around the situation there with Bruno Fernandes. Now, obviously, recent reports have come out saying that Tottenham now are ahead of Manchester United in the race for Bruno Fernandes. Well, for quite recently, Bruno Fernandes' move to Manchester United has looked very probable, but it did come out yesterday saying that Tottenham now are in for Bruno Fernandes. For a large portion of the summer, it's been mainly Manchester United that have been in for him, even though it says Tottenham and Liverpool have been credited with an interest. But now Tottenham have reportedly stepped up their interest in Bruno Fernandes. So it said yesterday, reports indicated out saying that Tottenham officials flown out to Portugal to obviously go and hold talks with Sporting Lisbon over possibly thrashing out a deal for Bruno Fernandes. So I do believe Tottenham are in talks to sign Bruno Fernandes. Like I did say with Tottenham, they're looking to do more investment, because I think they're looking to get at least one more player on the board. I think their priority is to recommend number 10 in, because obviously they're in search for an attacking midfield. They're in for Dybala still at Tottenham. Obviously now they're in for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously one of their main priority targets, of course, has been Giovanni Lo Celso from Real Betis. But obviously they're becoming a bit infuriated with their chase for Giovanni Lo Celso, because obviously Tottenham have been locked in negotiations with Real Betis for months. But obviously Tottenham and Real Betis haven't come to an agreement on a fee. Real Betis, their overarching view on this is they've said they will sell Giovanni Lo Celso, but looking for somewhere in the region of around £70 million for his services. Tottenham have already had a £52 million bid turned down for Giovanni Lo Celso. And even if it did say in the media, even if Tottenham can come to an agreement to get Giovanni Lo Celso, they won't withdraw all their interest in Bruno Fernandes. So now it's reportedly now saying that Tottenham are ahead in the race to sign Bruno Fernandes. But we've been emerged as the favourites, for large portions of the summer, basically, to sign Bruno Fernandes. Recent reports did say, we had an agreement in principle. We have an agreement in principle, with Sporting Lisbon for Bruno Fernandes. And obviously, Bruno Fernandes wants to leave Sporting Lisbon because recently he informed his teammates that he's expected to leave Sporting Lisbon this summer. And Di Marzio came out about the news earlier on this week, just like he did in regards to Harry Maguire, and he said that Man United are close to signing Bruno Fernandes. I do believe anywhere that Sporting Lisbon are reportedly not willing to do any transfer until next week, because Sporting Lisbon do want, or is it after the game again on Sunday? Sporting Lisbon do want to play Bruno Fernandes against Benfica in the Portuguese Super Cup on Sunday. So I do presume that will be Bruno Fernandes' farewell appearance. But yeah, reportedly now Tottenham have moved ahead in the race. But actually, reports indicated out last weekend, and it was actually looking very, very likely he was coming to Manchester United. It said that we'd reach a transfer agreement with Sporting Lisbon for Bruno Fernandes. It also said a fee of around 62 or 63 million had been agreed, and it said that Bruno Fernandes was set to fly out to the UK for his medical with Manchester United ahead of his proposed move to Old Trafford. And this is what basically said about Bruno Fernandes. But Sporting Lisbon, they came out earlier on this week, and they denied speculation that Man United reached an agreement to sign Bruno Fernandes. And it reported out on Tuesday, reports emerged out on Tuesday saying that Man United had made an offer to Sporting Lisbon through Bruno Fernandes' agent. But I think we're basically taking it at one player at a time, basically. And I think the most infuriating thing is that we've been negotiating a fee with Leicester for quite some time for Harry Maguire. We've been negotiating about a fee with Sporting Lisbon for quite some time. We're not even nowhere near close to coming into an agreement. So this is what is very, very frustrating indeed. Because I said, Sporting Lisbon's valuation for large periods of the summer has been the stumbling block, basically, of Bruno Fernandes coming to Manchester United. Their valuation, because obviously, we've been reluctant to meet what Sporting Lisbon are demanding, because the value of Bruno Fernandes at £70 million. Obviously, at one point we was only willing to pay around £50 million for his services. But the Sporting Lisbon boss, he's had his say on all the speculation. He's had all his say on it. He says that Bruno Fernandes' future is still up in the air. He's given his analysis throughout the course of the summer, and he basically said that clubs have been keen on signing him. But he says he doesn't know if Bruno Fernandes is currently going to be leaving. But I think Sporting Lisbon have come to accept the fact that Bruno Fernandes wants to leave, to rejuvenate his career and take his footballing career to the next level and all that. I think they've come to accept the fact that he does, currently want to leave, because I do believe, Bruno Fernandes spoken with his representatives quite some time back about his proposed move to Manchester United. So I do believe his actual preference has been a move to Manchester United. But the president, Federico Varandas, and I do believe he's talking now with Tottenham, because obviously, like I said, Tottenham flew out to Lisbon yesterday to talk with Sporting Lisbon. He said earlier on this week, he revealed what type of fee Manchester United would have to pay to convince Sporting Lisbon to offload him. And I think, he said we'd have to pay upwards of £56 million. But basically, you got British journalists, coming out the other week saying that Manchester United have not been interested in Bruno Fernandes all summer, for the entirety of the summer. And we have been in for Bruno Fernandes for ages. You were getting nonsense early on this week saying that we're only willing to go in for Bruno Fernandes now if Paul Pogba is sold. That's a load of nonsense, because obviously we was in for Bruno Fernandes before the rumours started emerging about Paul Pogba departing the football club. So obviously that's a load of nonsense. But he said in Sky Sports, was it early on this week or was it the other week, it said it was unlikely he was going to come to Manchester United, because we believe the majority of the speculation about Bruno Fernandes was actually stemming from Portugal rather than Manchester. But I want him to come in, Bruno Fernandes. He has been one of our priority targets. He comes to Manchester United, he brings them goals that we need in that midfield, because he can score goals, as he has demonstrated in his 2 years in Portugal with Sporting Lisbon. He can create chances, he can provide assists, his tenacity is really, really good, his work ethic is good, and he'll dramatically improve our midfield. And I would be excited about the prospect of linking Bruno Fernandes up with Paul Pogba in our midfield. And I think also Bruno Fernandes is very, very good from set pieces. He hasn't really got the experience of playing in the Champions League. He hasn't really played to the highest level, Bruno Fernandes. But I don't think that's a current concern. Because I still believe he will succeed at Manchester United and all that. We're still possibly in there for him, definitely. But I think now reportedly, Tottenham have moved ahead in the race, and something that could go against us, like, Tottenham have got Champions League football to offer Bruno Fernandes, Manchester United haven't got Champions League football to offer him, so that could go against us in that aspect. But, like I said, more additional information will definitely update about him. He's still in the contract with Sporting Lisbon until 2023. His initial release clause is £88 million, but obviously, we're not determined to go anywhere near that figure. And obviously, he had good spells when he was at Sampdoria and underneath and all that, because he spent the majority of his career in Italy, when he was younger. But I do believe he's primarily an attacking midfielder is Bruno Fernandes. He did initially say we would orchestrate on putting Bruno Fernandes in that number 10, because that maybe where that's probably where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer believes we'll see the best of him. It's where we'll currently see the best of him. So that's the latest news about Bruno Fernandes. Now, with the news about Paulo Dybala, as I updated you on previous video again, obviously there's huge developments around the situation about Paulo Dybala. So basically, the situation with Dybala at the moment is, he still hasn't made a decision on his future. I am very, very aware that I've just been reading recent reports. Now, Juventus have reportedly told Paulo Dybala he's not allowed to return to training until next week. So obviously, that's going to fuel a bit more speculation. Obviously, that doesn't mean that's revealed what decision he's made on his future and all that. It's just basically said he's not allowed to train until next week. But I think Juventus obviously do want to offload Paulo Dybala, because I think Maurizio Sarri's obviously confirmed he's not part of his plans, and obviously Dybala now he's served his 2 requirements at Juventus. Reports came out yesterday saying that he had returned back to Turin after his holidays, and he did say he was set to hold showdown talks with Maurizio Sarri regarding his future. And I do believe the only way Paulo Dybala will come to Manchester United is if we're willing to give him a significant pay rise. And as you all know, Dybala is allegedly demanding that he wants 350 grand a week. So obviously he does want a huge pay rise and all that. And I think he did initially say that Dybala's got reservations about joining Manchester United. Obviously, because we haven't got Champions League football and all that, he has got some reservations about joining the club. And I do believe that Dybala has got concerns that he's that his trophy aspirations, cannot be matched by Manchester United. So basically, Paul Dybala is thinking long and hard. I think Ronaldo's actually urged Dybala to come to Manchester United because he maybe believes it will be beneficial for his career and all that. But basically, Dybala has lost his place now in the Juventus squad. He lost it last season to Cristiano Ronaldo. But I think his actual preference is definitely to remain in Turin. But he wants 350 grand a week. He wants around 10 million a year after tax. Does Dybala? This is what he's basically after. So I do believe Paul Dybala's agent is in London, or obviously has been in London, obviously holding talks with Manchester United because he wants to thrash out a deal for his client. Because Paul Dybala's agent wants to get a deal thrashed out for his client. I do believe they've held secondary talks of Dybala's agent and Manchester United over coming to an agreement on the personal terms. I do believe the sporting director of Juventus has obviously been in London. He's also been in Manchester to discuss Paul Dybala's potential move to Manchester United. So basically, for this swap deal to go through involving Lukaku and Dybala, the deal now hinges on Paul Dybala agreeing a move to Manchester United, because I do believe that Romelu Lukaku has agreed the personal terms with Juventus. But Dybala reportedly has got concerns about coming in. Like I said, Tottenham are in there for Dybala. They're orchestrating on putting him alongside Kane in their attacking their line. Obviously, with Tottenham, they'll have to smash their transfer record to get Dybala, because I think Juventus do value him at around £80 million. But yeah, Tottenham have had quite a few negotiations over an audacious move for the player. But reportedly, he's not training. He's not allowed to train until next week, is Dybala. But Juventus are trying to basically force him out of their football club. But I think Dybala's preference is to remain in Turin. His current salary at the moment at Juventus, I think he's on 120 grand a week. So I think that equates to around 6.5 million a year. So basically, if we are willing to pay him 350 grand a week, he'll get around £230,000 pay rise. Are we willing to pay him 350 grand a week? Probably, perhaps we can afford to be, because we're a massive club, we've got massive revenues and that, we can probably afford it. And obviously, with us offloading Lukaku as part of the deal, obviously, that's going to help us with our wage bill. It's going to free up funds, for us to give Paul Dybala a significant pay rise. But he said, reportedly, he wants 350 grand a week, the player, and also his representatives are demanding 350 grand a week for his client, for their client, basically. So Whether Man United are willing to meet these wage demands, I do not currently know, even though the Metro did say yesterday that we actually agreed the personal terms with Dybala. Dybala, I think, primarily plays as number 10. He also plays as a forward, but I think he's actually not primarily a number 10. But his goal scoring pedigree is absolutely fantastic, and I will put Dybala in the top 10 in the category of the top 10, maybe in the top 20. That's what category I'd put Paulo Dybala in, because Dybala can score goals. He's got the potential. He's a good agile player. He's scored 78 goals in 182 appearances in all competitions for Juventus. Since he joined them from Parma back in 2015. So in large portions of his 4 years with Juventus, he's done pretty well. He's still under contract with Juventus until 2022. And he's won a lot of trophies during his time in Turin. 4 Serie A's, 3 Coppa Italians. I think he's been named in the Serie A Serie A team of the year on 3 occasions, reflecting on his impressive performances. But he hasn't been one of our priority targets. But we do know reports have come out in the last 4 or 5 days about it. But I do believe it has been a swap deal has been agreed between Man United and Juventus, involving Lukaku and Dybala, and I think the agreement's in principle, what Sky in Italy did say a couple of days ago. But obviously the move now hinges on Paulo Dybala. So yeah, more things we'll definitely update. But I think this is beneficial for us because you've got Lukaku, that serves 2 requirements at Manchester United. You've got Dybala now, that serves 2 requirements at Juventus. Dybala's adamant that he still wants to fight for his place in the Juventus squad. But comparing Dybala and Lukaku, I think Dybala is a better footballer than Lukaku. But I'll give Lukaku the credit. His goal scoring pedigree, he's still a fantastic in the Premier League. He's Romelu Lukaku's, but we do need to get rid of him because he's not going to get in that mix now as Lukaku. Because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice preference is Marcus Rashford ahead of Romelu Lukaku. Now, like I said, look who we've got in our line now. You've got Mason Greenwood, Chon, Martial, Rashford, Daniel James, Lingard. Lukaku's going to find it really hard to get into the mix. So Lukaku does want to leave the football club. Obviously, for the large portion of the summer, he's been relentlessly linked with Inter Milan. Obviously, Inter Milan have struggled to meet our 75 or 80 million pound valuation. Obviously, we said we want to recoup the money that we did pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago. But obviously, Lukaku is our second most expensive sign. He's still got 3 years left on his contract with the club. But I do believe he has agreed the personal terms with Juventus. So I do want Dybala to come in. He won't be able to assure us. He won't assure us to win as the league. We won't win the league even if Dybala, Maguire and Bruno Fernandes comes in. I still don't think we'll win the current league, but obviously we do know it will dramatically improve our squad, and that's one thing we do currently know. So like I said, there's been a lot of players on our current agenda, but like I said, we've got a lot of players on big contracts. You got Lukaku who's on over 200 grand a week. You've got Martial who's on a substantial amount. He signed a 5-year deal back in January. You've got De Gea, he's agreed a 6-year contract. He's going to be on 375 grand a week. You've got Sanchez, who's on £500,000 a week. We know with the bonuses and image rights included, it does rise up to 500 grand a week. You've got Rashford, who's potentially on 200 grand a week, but with bonuses included, it rises up to 300 grand a week. You've got Pogba, who was initially, I think, on around 290 grand a week, was it, or something like that? But obviously, he had a 25% cut on his wages. Obviously, without failed to qualify for the Champions League and all that. But yeah, we have got good players on big contracts. So are the club willing to give Dybala 350 grand a week? It would make him one of the highest paid players at the football club, and it'd also make him one of the highest paid players in the Premier League. So he does want a significant pay rise, does Dybala. So that's the situation with Dybala as it currently stands. But like I said, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I still believe he can take Manchester United forward. He has proven himself at the football club. He did well when he was interim manager in his first 3 months because he exceeded expectation levels. Obviously, he did also win a couple of Norwegian titles with Malta. So he has got a bit of experience as a manager. Pretty decent pedigree, but just obviously not really to the highest level. Don't forget he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years under the Alex Ferguson era. And like I said, he's following Alex Ferguson's philosophy, as I think you all basically gathered. But yeah, guys, that's mainly everything to update you. So that's all my opinions of what I've got to say to you. I am now becoming really infuriated in this current transfer market. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribing, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching, guys.